Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the PTC podcast. I'm here today with Tom Kinsey, who is the lovely supplier of our very neatly laid out Virtus gym equipment. Hey, Tom. How you doing?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good, good. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
This is our luxury studio that we pay a lot of money for. So I wanted you here because I can see, obviously, you're good friends with Chris, and we've met through that way. We've met through a bit of work that we're doing together, but also you're doing a lot of work on the beach on Sunday mornings, which we'll get to, which I think is a lot of merit in, and I want to help promote it.
Appreciate it.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about you, kind of your rugby playing background, injuries, maybe also how you got into the Virtus line of business.
100%. So yeah, I played a lot of rugby, a lot of sport in general, I guess, when I was younger. Grew up always playing sport through school, into uni, club-wise, all that sort of stuff. Moved out here got a job offer actually day of my graduation, or job opportunity day of my graduation, to come out here to work for Gilbert Rugby, to kind of help grow and develop the rugby scene out here through them. So fast forward a couple of months, I was on the plane, never been there before, thought I'd jump on the plane and see what it was like. Thought worst case scenario, 2 years, 18 months, back in the UK, and not sure what to do then. I'd finished my degree, I'd done sport and exercise science, so I was into the fitness sports world anyway, I guess. Hopped on a plane, came out here and worked for them for 18 months or so, which loved the brand, wasn't wild on the company out here, but I'd never badmouth them because I wouldn't have had the opportunities I would have had going forward after that. So yeah, had a great time for those 18 months, kind of playing rugby to an extent, picked up a few injuries playing out here, ended up breaking my ankle, which was kind of the end of the rugby season out here, and obviously the work stuff as well. So had a lot of involvement in the rugby side of things. Left them after probably 18, 20 months of being here, and moved over to Vivo in 2015. That'd have been. Worked with Vivo for 9 years now, who are a functional training fitness equipment distributor. And then 3 years ago, myself and Jeremy, who was the founder of Vivo, set up Virtus and went down that route of, I guess we were bored of selling other people's kit, and kind of thought, why not do it ourselves? Like, we can manage lead times better, we can manage price better. We were getting fed up of prices going up, lead times being extended, shipping times, all this sort of stuff where we had no control over, right? We were waiting on manufacturing from another company, and that was obviously damaging us. It was making everything slower and I guess more painful. So yeah, we decided that actually we'd go kind of direct and set our own brand up, do that ourselves. So that was 3 years ago and growing ever since.
How do you find making the leap from working for somebody to working for yourself?
So in a way, it's still the same. So Vivo's still Vivo. That nothing's changed there. Day-to-day job is still Vivo. Vivo acts as Virtus's distributor for this region, right? Which was actually a really nice way of launching the brand, right? Because it meant we could establish a whole business without any extra overheads. Day-to-day Vivo is still operational out here. That was paying for the office, was paying the salaries, all that sort of stuff. But it meant that kind of behind the scenes we could grow our own brand rather than selling other people's stuff. But it's gone from strength to strength. Jeremy, who's owner of Vivo, business partner for Virtus, he's also my son's godfather. So it's we've formed this really good close connection, and he looks after all the back end and stuff in the UK, and then obviously kind of the face of it out here, I guess.
So what's the structure then? Vivo is the older company. Is it the parent company?
So Vivo was set up in 2013 as a distribution business.
Right.
We've dabbled with a little bit of education, a little bit of personal training, but the core business is a distribution company.
So you guys were going to get other people's kit, like, for example, or I don't know if it is like Alico or that kind of stuff.
When we first set up, we were working with Escape Fitness. So they were one of our first brands. We would bring Escape in from Europe or the US and sell it from the Middle East. And we moved around with a few brands, kind of trying to see what fit the market best. Obviously, as markets change, we'd change with that. But we were always reliant on other people, and we always saw that it was getting harder and harder to kind of, as as lead times were extended, as shipping costs went up, as production costs in the UK or the US or China or wherever it was were going up, we were getting hit with additional costs. And that meant our price had to keep going up.
And that's you as Vivo.
Us as Vivo,
So
yes.
basically, you leapfrog them back a step in the production line, and you replaced them at the production level.
Completely. So,
Yeah, got it.
rather than representing other brands, we were like, well, why not represent our own brand?
Yeah.
So we set Virtus up as a Melbourne licensed business.
Cool.
So an Australian company, and then Vivo, in theory, is the Middle East partner for Virtus. We still work with other companies, we still work with other brands, but obviously Virtus being the core brand now. And yeah, it just meant we could bring lead times down, we could do it quicker, we could do more customization, we could keep costs lower, which for us was important. We didn't want to be overcharging, I guess, when kind of, I guess traditionally you probably had to, because you were just another step in that kind of sales line. Whereas now, because we have that full control, we can keep those costs down. And I guess hopefully in theory make it a better experience for guys like yourselves.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. We couldn't be where we are now with the two places and the kit without that kind of support that you guys have offered us. So massively appreciative of that.
No, not at all. Thank you.
So where's the stuff made primarily? Because you got everything from weights, like basically heavy stuff, to the softer stuff.
Yeah.
Is it all in the same place, or did you have to go around sourcing?
So we
textiles?
went through. Actually, literally, start of COVID, we were waiting on samples to arrive. So I thought the best way to test it was get 8 or 9 different companies to send samples out. I'd keep them all on my balcony throughout the summer, and if they last on the balcony, happy days,
Yeah,
they're going to
fair.
be okay. If they're not, then we put them to the side.
That is a big litmus test, to be fair.
It worked as well. So I think 7 of the 9 failed.
Really, yeah. What were they, med balls? What did you say?
No, barbells mainly,
Okay.
because I want to see kind of steel work wise,
Yeah.
what would last, what would still spin after use.
So what happened to the shitty ones?
Rust, the bearings go on them,
Right.
just didn't hold up.
Yeah.
And I mean, dust was in the marina, so we were close to the sea. It was pretty harsh conditions.
Yeah.
But I knew that if some did last from that, amazing, happy days. And we had 2 companies from there that did what we needed them to do and lasted well. So we've stuck with those 2 factories ever since, who are based in China. I mean, every rubber product comes from China these days. Almost every barbell comes from China. So, we went to those 2 factories who we knew were making products for, I guess, competitors as well now.
Yeah.
So we knew the quality of them. We'd seen the quality being sold in the US and stuff elsewhere that these guys are manufacturing for us. So a lot of the stuff comes from there, but we hold that in stock here in Dubai. And then we have steelwork. We have 2 options, both from one of our factories in China and locally manufactured, and then rubber as well for flooring. We've got a local manufacturing factory that does custom rubber for us. We've got an option from the US for kind of extremely premium rubber flooring option, and then Chinese as well.
And did you go to all those places in person, or were you able to do that virtually? Yeah, virtually online.
Most of it was online. We were pretty, I guess in a way, lucky that COVID hit when it did. It meant that we couldn't go travel to all these places.
Yeah, fair.
Kind of we relied on them to send us product that we could then test here and go through that. And a big thing for us was the communication with the factory as well. A couple of places came back with, we got emails in Chinese.
Oh,
I was like fair enough, I get it.
Yeah.
I certainly couldn't send an email in Chinese back to them.
Yeah.
But I thought it's got to be something you can communicate to.
Yeah,
Because if there's going to be a problem or if something's going to change, we need to know straight away.
At least like understand that I'm not Chinese.
Yeah,
At
exactly.
that level of communication, like who you talking to here?
Yeah, I mean, what response are they hoping for? Right?
Yeah.
We had a couple of factories that were really good communicating over WhatsApp. Everything, it was easy. So everything made sense.
Because I've read the book, the Nike book.
Yep.
What's it called?
Something dog.
Shoe Dog.
Shoe dog, that was it.
And he talks a lot about going over to China
Yes.
or Japan or one of them and going to all the factories. So that's what I imagine, like a distributor, even though that was the 60s or the 70s. I still have a little romantic idea of that's what it's about. You got to get off a flight and figure out the lay of the land in China and get all the way down into the taxi, into the factory, figure it out.
Well, you're lucky in a way as well now that a lot of these larger factories and the ones that we're working with are also now exhibiting at places like FIBO. They're at the Active Show in Dubai.
Right.
They're now exhibiting their own kind of OEM white labelled options at these at these events. So they're now coming to you.
Yeah,
Certainly
okay.
the bigger ones are, which kind of the ones with like a better reputation, which therefore the ones we want to work with. They're coming to you now, which makes life a lot easier. You now don't have to go from factory to factory trying to see what's going on, especially because I'm sure a lot of factories don't want people seeing what other people are doing, right?
Especially not those Chinese factories. I'm sure they're happy with a closed door policy.
100%.
Yeah.
So them coming and exhibiting is always a benefit. But then I think for us it was always sampling, knowing that we've tested those samples out. It's kind of similar reason to that as to why we've never had a big showroom, right? Anyone's showroom will always look shiny. It'll always look brand new. Like if something gets damaged, you're not going to know they're going to put a new item out and it's going to look brand new still. Showrooms always look lovely. I'd always much rather bring a client to somewhere like this, right, where kit gets used every day. It gets hammered, it gets a beating, and still looks good. Like you want people to see a bar that's dropped 1,000 times, not a brand new bar. So for me, that's always far more important.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who wants to come down and have a look, they're more than welcome. We've been slamming these and chucking these dumbbells around.
I mean, I hope you haven't been slamming them. They're not used for slamming, but and our wall balls.
No, the guys have been
slamming. Yeah, I'm sure
them.
they have.
Yeah, they've been slammed. These have been slammed down here as well. All of this, if anyone listening, we're sitting beside a whole stack of kettlebells, dumbbells, and
with the wall balls, the slam balls.
Wall balls, but they are our slam balls. And they last. They're good. This is all since 2020, maybe 2021 kind of time.
It'd have been around then, yeah. Interesting, actually. You guys were our first ever order.
There you go.
I think the first order Chris put through for I think it was slam balls, dumbbells, kettlebells. I think the very first order, which was our first order with Virtus.
Very good. Well, it's a pleasure because they have lasted. I don't think we haven't replaced any of these. We got another batch up in the other place, but that's about it. Any deep philosophical meaning behind the name?
Yes and no. So Vivo initially, right, is to do with kind of healthy living, to live well, the good life kind of thing. So we wanted to play on that a little bit at the same time. So Virtus was an ancient Roman virtue, strength, courage, valor. So all the kind of what we wanted to portray as our brand, right? It's kind of just a good reputation, good people behind it, and honest, I guess, and transparent. So that's where we wanted to be. We played with a few different names, but kept going back to Virtus, and it stuck. Yeah,
it's a lovely name, great name. It looks good on the kit as well, because it is that virtuous, victorious kind of. It does the Roman feel, gladiator, whatever.
Strength, valor, and honor. It was kind of the gladiator, ancient Roman feel.
Strength and valor can be the tagline.
Yeah.
Cool. So what's the plan now? Are you taking over the Middle East? Do you have orders from other countries?
We do a lot of work in Saudi. We're doing work in Bahrain, Oman, obviously here. It's kind of the key market for us. UAE is still obviously the main market, both private residential and your more high-end commercial kind of locations. We don't do too much of your smaller budget gym, functional. We don't do as much of that. We'd probably like to a bit more, but our focus traditionally had always been that more higher-end premium finish. So that's kind of where our market was. And yeah, it's good. So we've grown throughout the region, did a lot of work with the military. Here we've done a lot of work with government, royal family stuff in Saudi, nice. And obviously the royal family here, which kind of was one of our first ever orders, and it's grown and grown and grown since. So it's it's been a good ride so far.
Yeah, those guys are definitely not looking for the cheap budget gym stuff. They're looking for the high end stuff.
High end, but also reliable, right? Which is always something we've always wanted to be. Was reliable. Kind of, you know what you're getting. You don't want to have one order that comes and everything's lovely, and next order it's completely different, right? Like if a gym wants to top their kit up, you want the same product.
Yeah.
Like that whole idea of Starbucks, right, is that it's not the most expensive, but you know wherever you go, it's going to be the same. And that's what we wanted with the Virtus stuff. It was always going to be like it's reliable, it's consistent. People know what they're getting. There's no surprise when it gets delivered. It's affordable, and then obviously we can customize a lot of stuff as well.
And do you have people asking for some crazy stuff like I want a teak finish on this? Because I'm in a WhatsApp group with PTs in the region, and somebody wanted teak. I won't say teak. I can't remember. Some fancy wooden finish with silver weights and all this and then I couldn't believe a day later someone's putting screenshots of their gym in the stuff, and I was like, this is crazy, because this is ugly looking stuff, but it's not built to be chucked around.
We've done a few different kind of out there
Like what?
orders.
Without saying the names of whichever famous person or super shake that is.
No, so we've done yacht logos cut onto dumbbells, kind of stainless steel dumbbells for certain people. We've done
On their yacht.
On their yacht, yeah, of course. Gyms on yachts, gyms on private islands that want specific things. We've built climbing walls based on the Dubai skyline.
Cool.
Yeah, all kinds of different things that, like, traditionally, I guess people came to us with an idea and let's see what we can do, right? So we'd tweak things, and we'd custom boxing rings, which were very much over-engineered because that's what they wanted.
Right.
So we're using 10mm steel on the uprights just to kind of make sure that they were happy with what they were getting.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of custom work, but custom's kind of where we started off with the business, outdoor custom, and then yeah, I think custom's still a big thing for us. It's important.
And when you say custom, are you talking about like slightly unusual things like boxing rings or just a typical rig, rack, shelves?
From everything really.
Yeah.
So from client logos on plates,
Right.
to stainless steel dumbbells with their logos kind of laser cut into them, to your rigs and racks with logos laser cut, boxing rings with logos and stuff obviously printed onto the canvases. A lot of that sort of stuff. It's always been a focus of ours to promote our client's brand as much as it is ours. We want to be able to provide something different. It's not always just off the shelf. We can do all the customization stuff. We can give something a little bit different that a lot of people don't put a focus onto out here.
Do you have the slickest home gym? Do you have just what? Do you have a home gym?
I actually don't. I should do.
Have you got the slickest one designed, then ready to go?
I've got a few ideas.
When you get permission to have a spare room.
Well, yeah, we converted the maid's room into what at the time was my triathlon room, which was my kind of training room. Then I had my bike set up in there,
Yeah.
Which has now sat there. I think I've used it now once in about 2 years,
Right.
18 months or so. So it probably is about time it gets changed. But I mean, where we live, we've got I think we're about 120 villas, and they've got their own community gym there,
Right.
which does exactly what I need it to do.
Fair.
And obviously I'm lucky enough to be able to go and train at a few other gyms as well, kind of clients of ours. So it's
Yeah.
I've not gone down the home, not properly gone down the home gym route yet, but I'm sure I will do at some point.
And when people are asking you to kit out their home gyms here, are they happy just taking stuff off the shelf, or are they looking for that real, like, I need to make this fit into that room kind of thing?
A bit of a mixture. Depends on the home gyms. I mean, we've done home gyms from obviously a few thousand dirhams up to I think we've done one recently which was just shy of 500,000 dirhams.
Wow.
For a home gym.
Is that a resident or is that a royal member?
No, not a royal family member.
Wow,
just I'm not going to say it, not an average guy, but a businessman who wants to put in a home gym and wants the best of the best.
Does he want to start selling memberships? And how's
he
he going to make that money back?
No, he literally came up with this idea of kind of this is the space and this is the idea of what I want to put in it, from strength machines and cardio machines, kind of a full everything. And yeah, it's that's probably up there with one of the most expensive home gyms we've done.
You need to check in with him in a few months and see how many times he's used it.
I'd guess about 2 probably.
You reckon?
No, I don't know. You obviously hope it gets used all the time.
Yeah. Do you get me? Do you in the industry you're in, where you're kitting out new gyms and selling kit to current gyms? Do you hear much about gyms going out of business here? Like, you getting people trying to sell you kit back, or?
Yes and no. We did kind of post-COVID. There was a lot of we've seen the gyms close. I think Cult Fit was probably the biggest loss out here because they probably had 8 locations, kind of in the process of that. Every single one pulled out and disappeared. But yeah, we saw a lot of gyms, a lot of spin studios kind of close up after COVID. It was hard, right? People out here thought COVID was a harsh lockdown, but then everything was amazing and opening again afterwards. In reality, gyms were still operating at 50%, 60%, 70% capacity.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't want to go back into those gyms yet.
Yeah.
So even though from the outside it looked like the UAE was the place to be, and it was living here, right? It was open and free and you could do what you wanted. From a business aspect, our clients was still struggling for a year, 18 months, 2 years after that, because it took time for everything to be 100% capacity, and it took time for people to want to be back in these big open spaces. A lot of people had put money into home gyms, so they were then comfortable training there. They weren't ready to go back into a gym and start paying their membership when they'd paid money for a home gym anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was we've seen a lot of come and go.
Yeah, because thinking back, like we were just in it, just getting through it. We definitely, you can't even complain about it really, because when you look around the rest of the world at that time, the fitness industry were on their knees in parks in the UK throughout the winter, you know, 100%. And we were open 2-3 meters apart. Granted, it was a bit sloppy. Machines were just blocked off with yellow and black tapes to try and keep the regulations. But the government here sent out so we opened in July of that year, and there was nothing. It was just crack on, lads, get back to it. And then they had a mini freak out end of August, September of 2020, and the Sports Council issued this very long list of rules and regulations that we needed to abide by. And to look at it, it's like, oh my God, they're crippling us. Yeah. But actually, when I read it properly, and I was like, do you know what they've done here is they've gone through this properly with a brain. They've cut out things like no water coolers, no sharing towels, no sharing mats, no waiting area at reception, no like lockers in the all these different bottleneck points they just got rid of. And it led me to actually have a lot of respect for them, because I can see that they've done a lot of thinking in order to keep businesses open.
100%.
They've not just gone, do you know what, gyms are people breathing heavily and coughing and whatever, close them all down. They've somebody with a really good, solid experience has gone through this and allowed us to stay open. So we were then open with, after a month you're used to it. Everyone's used to it.
Of course.
Little spray things, and the biggest complaints you're getting was someone was overspraying the cleaning thing, and I get all that. So we did our best, but at one point it went to 3 meters apart, I think, during the biggest spike or whatever it was. But again, we were still open.
Yeah, of course.
But we managed to run a little bit of a hybrid with the Zoom classes for a while, which was super useful, not only for the people who were concerned about coming to the gym, but also people who were traveling to Saudi for work for a few days and here and there. They could still actually keep involved. We had people in Ireland that were 3-4 hours behind joining our evening classes over Zoom.
You saw a lot of it. It was a really nice way for people to, and something that you guys have done amazing here, keep that community going, keep that community spirit, because a lot of people got very lonely in lockdown, right? Like if you were on your own in lockdown, you weren't seeing people for 3 months, right? Like apart from if you go to the shop, especially out here, like you didn't have that time where you could have a group of 6. You didn't have that time where you could do an hour's exercise outside that you could have done in the UK. Out here, lockdown was lockdown, and it's probably a very lonely time for a lot of people.
Can't imagine it, but I was unfortunately, and also very fortunate, I got stuck in London the morning the airports closed.
Okay.
So, momentary panic, but ultimately, let me just get on a flight back to Dublin and sit with my parents. And at the time, it was 2 weeks, borders closed, and then Emirates ground, and it was another 2 weeks. And then it was just like, right, we'll let you back in whenever we wake up and decide you're back in. So all the way till July, I was in Ireland. So I was totally away from everybody over here. I was away from when people needed permits here to leave. Dublin just had the closest, the biggest limit was, I think, 2k around your residence, and then it went to 5k, and then it was like, look, it's open, but just the shops are closed and the gyms and all that are closed. But going into from March to Dublin's July, it's nice weather. Yeah. As much as it's raining, it's still long evenings, all that nice stuff, So you sit in your garden and everyone is pretty happy with it. Whereas over here, it was getting permits to leave. Yeah. You could leave only once every 3 days, and then when they started to unlock people or unlock the lockdown, it was summertime.
Yes.
So it's 50 to 40 degrees, whatever, in the daytime. So no one's still going out. So I can't imagine, we had a girl actually, I got on the phone with July of that year, chatting away. She's going to come down to the gym. She just mentioned she moved over in January. Okay. And I was like, wait, you moved over in January? She's like, yeah. And I was straight into your job. She's like, yeah. I was like, have you met anybody outside your office? She's like, no.
Yeah, of course.
And I was like, all right, well, we're going on a hike this weekend. I know we're going to chat Monday about the gym stuff, but come to the hike at the weekend.
100%.
And it's the first time she met more than 6 or 7 people at a time.
I'm sure.
Since March or whatever. So that's a heavy lift for a lot of people, but thankfully we're we're out of it now.
We're out of it.
So, putting all that aside, you mentioned triathlons, and you got a little home triathlon kit. Well, I've seen some of your photos on your Instagram. What distances did you do?
So started off, it was actually when my first son, Arlo, was born, much to Emma's annoyance. I think I signed up for Ironman Dubai, which is the 70.3.
Right.
About 2 weeks before he was born, with knowing I had kind of 14 weeks training before the Ironman.
Yeah, fair.
Which, probably wasn't the smartest.
Was that your first triathlon?
Yeah, so signing up for that was my first triathlon.
Right.
I then did a couple of practice runs building up to that. But at the time, I'd never swam open water more than going to the beach and having a paddle.
Yeah.
For me, the sea was to splash around, have a bit of fun in. It wasn't something to go and exercise in. Same with the bike. I'd cycled casually, but I'd never kind of put my head down and gone for it. And running, I was always kind of never the running build. So, I wanted something to proper challenge me, something completely different, something that put me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I'd been doing CrossFit before that, and I was always sore from it, like lower back issues.
Right.
But because of mobility issues, I kind of got to a point where I was never really going to get that much better, because I was never going to be the biggest lifter, because my mobility was never going to let me get there. I was never going to have the best endurance. I was never going to have the best gymnastic skills again, because of mobility and body weight and all this sort of stuff. So I thought, well, let's find something I'm pretty useless at and see what we can do with it. So triathlon and Ironman. Ironman was the one at the time.
You did the full Ironman?
No, so I was meant to. So I did Dubai 70.3, and then I did a couple of guys with the smaller races locally. I raced at the Abu Dhabi WTS, the World Triathlon Championship Series.
Right.
So I raced there, which was the Olympic distance.
Is that the Yas Marina one?
It was, yes.
Yeah, okay.
It was down at Yas. So it's not the one that's held every year. So the World Championships was held in Abu Dhabi 2 years ago. So I actually got to race for the UAE at that, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
Mate, awesome. So I've got my little Team UAE triathlon kit with my name on it and stuff.
So you're an international triathlete?
I can put myself down as an international
Let's start
athlete.
again. Wait, hold on. We're dealing with an international triathlete here.
So that was the fun part of it. And then I planned on training for Ironman Barcelona, full distance. And then happened to be the same weekend that Julia's getting born.
Oh, right.
So parked that and never went on the bike really after since.
So you just did the 70. Were you training for the full?
Not really. So I was training for the marathon at the time.
Right.
So after WTS, after the World Triathlon Series, I then moved into. I thought I'd run Dubai Marathon.
Yeah.
My brother ran marathons. My sister had run marathons. And I was like the non-runner of the family. I was like, okay, well, I can do this. Yeah. So I signed up for that, and I was like, well, I want to run sub 4 hours. And I was like, don't be stupid.
It's quick.
And then ran it in 3:53.
Nice.
Perfect. I trained properly for that, like 6 months of zone 2 training. Like went through it properly.
Yeah. Interval, like you did all the boxes.
Did my threshold training every week.
Nice.
I was doing probably 5 runs a week of 3 zone 2.
Yeah, some bang on next door in the basketball court. We'll try and pretend like it's not happening.
I do like 3 or 4 zone 2 runs, one long one threshold run, and build that up.
That's tough going, man, to tick all those boxes.
So I went fully committed into it.
Yeah.
So New Year's Day of 2020, I guess it was 2023 New Year's Day. I was up at 4:30 in the morning to a 3-hour run.
Yeah.
I was focused then. Everything was on the marathon and hitting that target. So I ran that, and then after that I kind of parked the endurance stuff for a while. And just kind of thought my body needs to put a bit of muscle back on and get back into some strength training, because I'd done 0 strength training by that point for 2.5 years.
You've just been doing the endurance training?
Pure endurance. So from Ironmans, triathlons into the marathon training, I probably hadn't stepped foot in the gym in 2.5 years really.
So physique wise then, did your body adapt to that?
Yeah, I look different to how I look now.
Yeah.
Very much so. I still kind of 92, 93 kilos, but that's 12 kilos less than I am right now. So
Wow,
I've put some muscle back on.
353 or whatever at 93 kilos is still quick. It's still powerful.
Yeah, I've
That's a
always had the
struggle.
power from the rugby days. And I like the endurance stuff. Like, I'm the type of guy, my heart rate will spike, but I've got the stamina to just keep going.
Yeah.
Like the first half marathon part of that marathon was like a 1:56, and then the second half of that marathon was like a 1:57.
That's 157 is impressive.
So I kind of kept that pace.
Yeah.
Like ran it like a 5.
Especially for your first one, really. Like, it's not.
Yeah, so I kind of 5:35-ish pace. I kind of said it to him, and I was like, I'm just gonna run that the whole way.
And how was the experience?
No music, nothing.
Really,
like, just head down, like find those demons,
Yeah.
and just go suffer and go dark.
4 hours though, because I've done 3 marathons. The Dubai Marathon was the first one, and I've talked about it before. I grossly disrespected the distance, and I thought, man, I can just show up. I did a lot of training, don't get me wrong, but I didn't tick every box. I didn't do the thresholds. I did shorts and longs, but it just simply wasn't enough, and I cramped up about 29-30k.
Yeah.
Walk around the rest of the way. Finished the first one in 5 hours 37, which was humiliating, because when you come in on the Dubai Marathon, everybody's finished the 10k, everyone's finished the marathon already, and they're all walking off to get their coffees and their bagels, and you're still trucking along in the middle of the road, and they're all like, come on, and you just get me off.
Mate, my marathon experience is very different, because we were the marathon that got moved from the main location up to the expo the week beforehand. So our marathon started and finished at Expo City.
I don't even know if I knew that happened.
It was literally announced a week before that they were moving the whole location. So we ended up about 30k of that 42k was on the truck road past DIP.
Just all the way out.
Like 15k out, 15k back on that truck road. So there was nobody on those roads. It was just you.
Just pavement.
It was not even pavement. It was like on the road, the tarmac, the Chutney Road, and it was up and down over the bridges, over the motorways and stuff, over the highways, and it was.
What year was that? 23.
It must have been.
The last year.
Yeah, about 18 months ago.
Okay.
Give or take.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, it had been February 23. So yeah, they moved the location literally the week beforehand.
I don't know if I knew that, or if I did, I've totally blanked that out of my mind. Because the other run, what I did was the last one before, because they go down Beach Road typically, all the way down, U-turn,
yes,
and back. When I did it, it was straight all the way down to the flag, U-turn all the way back. But then they swapped it to like a double loop in the middle. It's too hard to explain, but there's a U-turn, 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 and then finish. Which when I saw that, I was like, I'm never doing that again. Like, that's tough enough to go down that road, U-turn back. It's just buildings on the right, fence on the left for 5 hours 37 minutes. But then I did the Abu Dhabi one. I did Halong Bay in Vietnam, and I did Abu Dhabi. And the goal has been to just finish it running. Yeah. But man, I just cramp up. It for different reasons. I've still not ticked that box of just run. I don't care about my time. Yeah. I'm not an ego runner. I'm not ego. I couldn't give a shit. But I decided way back I'll do it, and I run all the way. And I've not done that 3 times. It's like absolute nightmare. It was the nutrition that saved me. I was on minimum of 100 grams of carbs an hour when I was running. How are you getting them in? Through gels. With the goo gels? No, God no. Yeah, they're sticky. So they're awful. Yeah. So when I was doing the training for the World Triathlon Series, I had a glucose monitor on my arm. So constantly tracking blood, right? Your blood sugar levels. And where's that reading on your watch? No, so I had literally a pinprick in your arm. Yeah. So it was constantly on there. It was a live glucose monitor. So where are you reading the data from? So I'd read it afterwards. But you could see how you'd feel through your session. A little bit gimmicky, but cool at the same time. I think if you could get live data, it would be cool. Yeah. If you could get something that tells you when to refuel, it would be a game changer. At the moment, it's just kind of you looking at it afterwards. Interesting, yeah. But so I used it because I found it interesting at the time. And I did one race on just a goo gels because I'd run to weight trade last minute to get some gels, and that's all there was there. And it gave me a 1 out of 10 fueling score. I then did the World Triathlon race. So the feedback at the end said you'd only done 10%? Completely underfueled. Yeah, okay. Completely underfueled the whole way. Even though I'd taken what I thought was the right amount of carbohydrate and stuff on, from how that was processed in my body, it was trash. And what distance was that you did?
it must be probably an Olympic distance race, so
Okay.
probably a 2-hour race.
Wow.
or whatever it
Okay.
is.
So the whole thing, you just had that. Yeah.
So I used gels for the whole thing, and it told me I was completely underfueled. I then did the WTS race with the company called Precision Fuel and Hydration, who now sponsor a lot of triathlon stuff. And finished that race, checked it, 10 out of 10 score. Fueled it perfectly the whole way through.
And how does that feel differently?
Well, I was much quicker,
Yeah.
so it hurt a lot more.
Right.
But I felt a lot better from
Also
it.
an Olympic distance.
Olympic distance as well.
Do you remember the difference in times? Ballpark?
It would have been a solid 10-15 minute
Okay.
difference. Don't remember the exact times, but
Yeah.
it was a solid difference.
Yeah.
And to do that because of fueling
Yeah.
was
That is big,
It
yeah.
was crazy. And then so I kind of start with that plan after the marathon. It was like 90 to 100 grams of carbs an hour. Really high density sodium concentrate in the waters, and I only used my stuff the whole way. I didn't touch any other fueling on the course, and I didn't cramp up once. I didn't stop running once. Ran the whole way, same pace. Job done. It's easy, mate.
Never done it. Yeah, it's easy. But the good thing is, and we have a client who we give out these little orange wristbands, like the old-fashioned Livestrong things.
Yeah.
And I'm giving to people. I'm like, look, this is a band, but it's a power band,
Yeah.
right? Put a story behind it, like you had there, that Virtus one
Yeah,
on
yeah.
your wrist. So you get that. It's not just a black decorative wrist piece. It's to remind you of your goals.
Yeah.
It's when you look at it, you keep you on track. Whatever the goal is, just put it on your car gear stick, put it on the door handle, put it on your wrist, whatever you want, but it's to remind you of what your focus is.
100%.
So one of the old boys running standard chart at 10K, and he again just wanted to run it the whole way without stopping. He said he thought about it stopping twice, and he looked down at his wrist, he saw the band, he's like, Keith's going to give me a bollocking if I stop, because we agreed I wouldn't stop. So he kept going. He finished in 59 minutes, 57 seconds, which for him is under an hour. He ran the whole thing. So his biggest celebration is not that, it's that he never has to fucking run again. He's like,
100%.
I'm never running another 10K
Mate,
again.
my whole thing through my head, from the Ironman to the marathon, all the triathlon stuff, was always and like the Menathon stuff, which we'll touch on in a minute, was Arlo at the time, because Jude on the board at the time. It was always Arlo, and it was always a thought in my head of
Arlo's your boys.
my son.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my eldest son, so he's just over 2.5, and it was always in my head. Imagine how it'd feel telling him you quit because it got difficult.
Yeah, okay.
Like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Nah, head down, keep going, you get it done.
Well, firstly, that's very honest of you to have to admit that to him.
Yeah.
And not be like, oh, no, mate, I got my back, or oh, no.
100%, yeah.
You know, nutrition, or I didn't sleep last night.
Yeah.
Because I can make up 1,000 excuses as to
course-
why I didn't do
of
well
course
in
you can
mine.
do.
But I know that just didn't prepare properly, didn't do my thresholds, didn't
Yeah.
do my shorts, did a load of long runs. Right, still haven't ticked the box.
Yeah, of course.
But I can go through this. Oh, I didn't sleep the night before. I get to bed. It was
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi. We were up at this time. Whatever. It's if you do it, if you've done enough prep, you're ready for it. Like you've gone pretty intense on those few things you've described already. But yeah, let's talk about the Menathon then. So, from an outsider looking in, you have a Sunday morning crew of boys going down. You started running with just runs, and then it's turned into workouts, open for people to come down and get involved.
So we, myself, Dale, and Jack, the three of us set this up in September, October time last year. Initially it was a run plan club. The focus was never the fitness side of it. The focus is always whoever's coming. We get together afterwards, sit down and have a coffee, chew the fat, share what you want to share. Like if you're struggling, whatever it might be. But that big focus on men's mental health, because that, I mean, globally is shocking the attention it gets. But here as well, there's Dubai can be a lonely place for a lot of people, and there's a lot of pressure on men, I feel, to provide, but also perform at work, financially, whatever it might be. Especially out here where some people do have vast wealth, right? You're always comparing yourself to other people, and it's not healthy. So yeah, we set this up as at the time, none of us were really runners. It sounds me stupid me saying that after just talking about the running, right?
Yeah.
But from that, when we started that, I'd gone 7 months by that point of not having jogged, cycled, nothing.
Yeah.
I've been in the gym, I've been lifting,
Yeah.
but I hadn't done a single piece of cardio in 7 months. So that first run that
Yeah.
we kind of put a word out that we're going to be starting these Sunday sessions. And since then, we haven't missed a Sunday. So we did Christmas Eve, we've done New Year's Eve. Every single Sunday since then, someone's been there putting it on. Because yeah, men's health is it's shocking the attention it gets.
Yeah, but I put a post up last month on like the fourth last day or something. Going,
Yes.
guys, it's actually Men's Mental Health Month, it's Men's Mental Health Awareness, like just awareness.
Yes.
And I didn't know. And then what I was interested in then, because I started looking through a couple of videos just to be like, oh, I'm just I got 4 days left in 5 days. I'm going to spam my story with just these stories, whatever. And then the algorithm just started showing me more and more and more stuff. And it's actually...
Mate, the statistics on men's mental health into male suicide is atrocious. They're saying, I think, 1 man every single minute globally commits suicide. 80% of suicides are male. It's crazy. The big thing, I think, is male loneliness. Male loneliness is an epidemic. I reckon 63% of men under 30 are single.
Yeah.
And then YouGov did a poll, 2021. They asked however many men, how many close friends do you have? The most common answer was 0.
Wow.
That's shocking.
It's heavy going.
It's shocking.
It's heavy going. Like I know in a place like Dubai, like back home in Dublin, my mates, I don't know how often they see each other because they've all got families and commitments.
Of course.
But if I get home at Christmas time, we've got a dinner. There could be 15, there could be 25 lads there, depending on who's available and who's in town. Now, I've actually missed it the last few years because I've not been home the right time, blah, blah, blah. But I know that kicks off every year. And there's that many guys.
But you also know that you could pick up a phone and call any single one of them and they're going to answer. Or at least return the call.
Any single one of them is probably a big...
The majority
a big reach. But there's definitely a couple of guys in there that
you know you could call on at any time.
Yeah, and they would know the last time, what we spoke about the last time, and the time before. They know, and I know the same, their journey kind of thing. But in Dubai, it is very different. I know for guys, you can start off in Dubai easy. You can make friends in the rugby club. You can make friends down the pub. You can make friends at the football club. And I always wonder how difficult it is for females. But just on the male, like you can start that life cycle, but that involves partying. That involves booze. Yes, there's rugby in for what me and Chris joined at the beginning.
And me.
But that lifestyle is tough going.
It wasn't sustainable, especially when family and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It was so the whole reason why we do it at 6:30 now, 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning is to keep you accountable on that Saturday. Stop you going out heavy on the Saturday night because you want to be turning up fresh, ready to train.
Yeah.
And the whole reason behind it was to give men somewhere which we could get together. You get a lot of the Jamira Jane coffee mornings and a lot of kind of ladies groups, right? And ladies training and all this sort of stuff. There's no male option for that, mainly because men are at work all day, every day. Most guys are, whereas out here, a lot of women are fortunate enough not to have to work. Whether that's bring up a family, whether that's just they don't have to, whatever it might be. So there's a lot of opportunity for women's coffee morning and stuff like that, where there isn't for men because of other priorities. So that Sunday morning was started off with the 3 of us and a couple of other guys came down for it, and we've got 200 people in the WhatsApp community.
It's massive. Cool.
About 50 between 40 and 50 guys most weeks to the Dubai event, and then we've just launched it down in Abu Dhabi as well.
Who's running it there?
A lad called Matt. So Matt came up for one of our big events. I'll touch on shortly. But we, in short, did a 21-kilometer run with a D-ball.
With a what?
With a D-ball, with a slam ball, with 20 kilo slam ball.
Why do you guys ruin a fucking good run? But no, go on. I'm joking. I'm only joking.
No, so that was the whole point of that. We did that for November, and the whole point of it was you kind of partner up with someone, you do that run together, share the load, share the burden.
Nice.
Split that load between the two of you. Gets you meeting people in the teamwork thing, but the whole purpose.
Well, it's also very symbolic, isn't it? Share the load.
Shouldering the weight, share the load.
I like that.
And kind of when you're struggling, offload it to someone else.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the whole reason behind the coffee, the sit down, the chat afterwards, which was always the focus of Menathon. It wasn't necessarily the fitness part of it, which we wanted the fitness part. We wanted to bring like-minded people together. But one of the big things for us was always there's a couple of other companies out here that do, I think companies, we're not a company, but that do similar aspects of what we talk about, but in a different way. So I won't name other companies, but there's one company that charges for their events.
Right.
And one of the highest demographics for male suicide is that low to middle tier income. So you're making a barrier of entry for people that potentially need it the most, which we're like, well, no, that's completely the wrong way of doing it. Like, we've always said, anything we do, it'll always be completely for free, unless there's a cost associated with it, right? Like, obviously, if we're going to go on a trip somewhere, it's not going to be free.
Oh, you ran. I just brought to mind Burge to Burge. You guys ran with the
Burge to Burge with the 60 kilo stretchers.
Yeah,
that was
I didn't realize that was you. I very slowly, but I managed to run past you guys at least on that race. I didn't realize that was you boys. It was in the dark when I passed you. I didn't recognize anybody. Yeah,
so we that was for a lad Thailand who broke his back in a motorbike accident. So raising funds for that. But yeah, we've done a few good events. We'll have a few more later on this year once it cools down again. But yeah, every Sunday 7 a.m. or 6:30 at the moment in the summer.
When you started, I remember thinking, "Oh, that's a good idea. That's cool." And then, sort of like, actually, yeah, no one was. I thinking to myself, I'm like, no one's really done anything like that where it's just like, you know what, everyone else go do one. This is just for the boys.
Yeah.
You know, this is just for get a lot of lads together, and it's not a surprise, but it sort of is a bit of a surprise to see how many people have been rocking up. You know, it's like, I hope all those guys are just also there for a bit of moral support, but let's hope they're not all struggling with deep darkness, because that's really, really heavy.
I think everyone at some point in their life will go through some kind of mental stress, whether that's anxiety and depression, whether that's suicidal thoughts, whatever it might be. I think at some point everyone's going to struggle somewhere. I think most people know somebody that's taken their own life at the time. So yeah, having that opportunity where people who potentially don't want to share whatever they're struggling with family or whatever it might be, but feel that in a group environment where everyone's going through the same thing, been through the same thing, you can get advice from other people potentially who have been there and done that, or just somewhere to offload. We've got boys. Luke, who you won't mind me mentioning, he's come up to 2 years sober. He was on the streets in London a couple of years ago, and is now a personal trainer out here, and he's doing Ironman Italy in September, and just completely transformed his life. And if there's anyone that was struggling, that wanted to look at someone and think, yeah, I can do that as well, that's the person to look at.
That's epic. Yeah, I mean, even if you don't necessarily want to go down and spill your guts out, if it's good to know that just in my back pocket I have this tool that if I need to, if things get too bad, I can chat to him or chat to him 100%. Or chat to him, you know, not even in front of the group. I'm not going to necessarily look forward to standing up on Kite Beach having a coffee and saying, this is what's on my mind. Because there's a lot of stuff, guys, when I was going through the Instagram stuff and the algorithm started feeding me more stuff about men's mental health, a lot of the stuff was like, you know, men shouldn't be afraid to cry, and if you know, telling men it's okay to cry, which is I get that, but it's men, they don't want to cry.
Yeah.
So don't invite me to come cry.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? I don't want to cry. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
No matter how much my struggles, I don't want to just break down.
Of course.
But to know that, like, in the diary on Sunday, there's this time where I can just catch up with the boys. I can listen to their stories and go, do you know what, if he's going through that, maybe my stuff's not so bad. Or that is kind of, we do have that in common.
Well, we've received a lot of messages directly from the other boys in the group, just saying like, need this, thank you. Like,
that's cool.
It was crazy how many people have reached out to myself, Jack, Dale, all individually, not necessarily sharing in a group, but we'll share with you privately, just so they can get off their chest, and you can give them advice. Hopefully, I'm not saying any of us are specialists in this matter, but knowing that other people have gone through it.
Like you do have a bit, whatever age you are, you're a 30-something-year-old male. You've got that many years being a guy.
Yes.
You know, you've had your stresses. You've lived in the world every second of every day. What more experience do you want?
Oh yeah.
You know, you don't need to be a psychologist by master's degree,
of
and
course.
you know, it's just like, listen, let's just have a chat. Because also, like, I know I get up early on a weekend morning to go run, and one of your things one day was don't suffer in silence.
Yeah.
I'm like, mate, I'm all about suffering in silence. That's all I want to do is go be alone and suffer and then be okay. But that Saturday night, knowing this is what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm not longing for other stuff. I'm chilling tonight. I'm going to go to bed early because I got to get up early. I got to do the thing that I said I'd do.
I genuinely, Saturday come around, and I'm looking forward to getting to bed early, and I'm looking forward to get up in the morning on Sunday morning, a 5 a.m. alarm, because I know what we're going to do. And even this Sunday, I mean, it's 45 degrees now. We've got a 90-minute workout planned out in the sun, followed by ice baths. So
the ice bath sounds nice, but I definitely would rather go suffer in silence.
I think I'd rather run than the ice bath right now.
Oh man!
But yeah, that's why we set it up, was just a safe space for men who did need help or just want to come down and chat with the boys. Like, we go out for the Six Nations, we watch the rugby, and we have a few beers and have a social. Like, it's not just Sunday morning training.
It's not just hold hands and hugs. There's just a boys aspect to it.
Yeah, it's a group that's there for anyone that might be struggling or who just needs a hand or wants somewhere to offload.
No, look, I'm all for it, and I'm more than happy to help promote it. Like I said, I am the type that does, like, I do look forward to waking up at 4 a.m. Yeah. It's pitch black, and I know I need to be out of bed. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to get out of bed. The longer I do that in my head, the hotter it's getting when I'm going to be finishing my run.
Of course.
So get out of bed, get in the car. I go drive, stop off in the coffee shop, say hello to the boys in that coffee shop who see me every Sunday morning.
Of course.
In the middle of nowhere on the 611, and then I go run. And I come back, and I still got the whole Sunday to do what 100%. I want. But it's an epic thing that you guys are doing. I know you guys came down to support the workout with Robin and Sean and Carlo.
Absolutely. And
the other reason I wouldn't actually go is the amount of abdominal muscles on show at that thing is unbelievable. It's just like if you're anyway sheepish, those boys, they will inspire you to get in shape for sure.
Yeah, I'd also say though, because it's funny you say that. A few people have said, kind of, there was almost a barrier to entry, right? It's not at all. We've got people who are big boys who just want to come down and improve their fitness. Like, everything we do is scalable. Everything we do is reprogrammable.
Yeah, you got Jack down there as a coach as well.
Jack's the coach. Yeah. Dale's the coach.
Cool.
Jack runs the project. Dale owns Unit 27. So two very experienced coaches who are great with the programming. Everything's kind of changeable. When we do weight workouts, we've got different weight options for people. It's very much a case of, like, don't think because you're not fit enough you can't come down. The fitness side of it, even if you want to come down for the coffee afterwards and skip the workout, like, crack on. We get boys that are injured who can't do the workout but want to come down afterwards and just have a coffee and sit and chew the fat.
So what have you got planned? What events have you got lined up, are you allowed to say?
We'll do work on a few things. We'll do something big for November, as we did last year. That'll be a big one. But yeah, there'll be a few good things coming. Some longer runs, possibly. A few of the boys tried to run a marathon in April, probably. It must have been April, May, and didn't quite get there. So I think there's a few.
A proper marathon, or just try to go do 42k?
42k.
Right.
Like, so we ran it. Yeah, it must have been late April, early May.
Yeah.
We thought, like, without much training for it, let's go run one. Like, see him get through it.
Yeah.
It took me about 5 hours then, so a little slower than last time.
Yeah. You finished it though.
I finished it.
Hot.
Yeah, it was warm.
Yeah.
It was warm.
Where was it, on the beach?
Yeah, we was on the beach, like up and down, just up and down.
Yeah.
Like, mentally numbing. But
yeah.
Like,
I've done that hundreds of times.
Yeah, but good fun. And there are a few of the boys that wanted to do it and didn't quite get there, which we hadn't trained for it properly, right? So expected. But
that's the thing, buddy. It's really hard. Whoever those boys, like, don't worry about it.
100%.
Just go again. Now you know why not everyone has ran a marathon.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think there's a few boys out for redemption.
Lovely.
So I'm sure there will be a marathon later on in the year at some point somewhere. We spoke about doing it on the 400 metre track.
There's always somebody. you guys, I don't know why you guys do it. We're all going to do it barefoot, naked in the South Pole. It's like, fucking hell, boys, just go for a run.
Sounds arousing, that. Maybe not the South Pole. It'd be a little bit cold to be naked, mate. But
yeah, this is what I'm saying. You guys, it starts off, Robin and is the same. Sean's the same. These guys, we're going to do this. And we're going to carry a med ball. Why? It's hard enough, but fucking just run with it. But no, I do. Deep down, I do respect it. It's not easy. You can't fake it. It's not something that tickles my fancy to add those levels of because I enjoy just the suffer of running.
Course.
You know, just in my head, I enjoy just suffer. Oh, I want to walk, don't walk. Oh, I want to walk, don't
100%.
walk. Walk. I'll walk up when I get to that tree. All right, you're at the tree. Don't walk all the way till you finish.
Of
Okay,
course.
thank God that's over. I don't need to. Maybe carrying a med ball might distract me from that boring internal chat.
Yeah, it was more. Yeah, certainly the med ball one was more. Yeah, sharing the weight. Sharing
that's
the burden,
cool. I like that.
Splitting that between someone else. So we actually did it in a team of 3. So I had Arlo in the push chair, and then so myself, Matt, and Dale, the 3 of us did it together. So one would be pushing Arlo, one would be carrying the D ball, then one would be running with it
on his lap. Mate, your turn.
But like the first few months doing it, I took Arlo for every run.
Cool.
It was I loved it. It was a great way of bonding with him.
Yeah.
And I think setting an example for kids, making sure that kids are seeing the parents being fit and being active, and kind of trying to lead by example, I guess.
Yeah, love it. Cool. All right. So where can people follow Virtus? We got that. You got that Instagram website? Yeah.
So Virtus Fitness Co. It will be on Instagram. VirtusFitness.com on the website. It'll be linked through to VivoFitness.com, which will be the main parent company here. And then Instagram for Menathon DXB.
Cool.
We've got Menathon AUH as well, I think it is, for Abu Dhabi. But reach out to any of us privately, and we can put you in the right directions.
And what's your handle?
So mine's at Tom Kinsey. Nice and easy.
Simple as that. All right. Well, cool. Cheers for that. Good luck with the rest of the heat this summer on your Sunday morning workouts. And yeah, we'll chat to you soon, guys. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you, mate.